very much. And I am not the fantabulous actress you have to bear with me just for a moment. First of all, as Joanna said, thank you very much for all that you're doing. At the end of the day, the way we're going to turn around this country in terms of global warming, in terms of transforming our energy system, in terms of politics, is doing exactly what you are doing. And that is grassroots organizing, door-to-door work. And I thank you very much for what you're doing. I think there is no state in the country per capita that is making the kinds of progress we are making in various areas, and I'll touch on that very briefly. But at the heart of everything that we do, there has to be grassroots organizing and grassroots educating, door to door, town to town. And that's what you're doing. So thanks very much. As all of you know, in Washington now, some of us at least are trying to deal with the enormous problems facing our country. Unemployment is sky high. We have a $15 trillion national debt. We've got 2 wars. We have a growing gap between the very, very rich, everybody else. We've got 50 million people without health insurance. All of those are enormous problems that have to be dealt with. But as I think you've just heard, and I think one of the recurrent themes of what you're talking about today, is that if we do not get the climate issue under control, everything else pales in importance in the decades to come. And it's not just the decades. I think all of you are clear that when we talk about the crisis of global warming, it's not just what will happen in 20 years or 50 years, it is what is happening today in terms of droughts, in terms of floods, in terms of extreme weather disturbances, in terms of the lives of millions and millions of people around the world, including some of the poorest people in the developing world. So we've got a crisis, we have got to address it. The bad news is certainly that in our country, at least, we are not doing anywhere near as much as we should. We're dealing with a chamber of the United States Congress, the House of Representatives, where the leadership there today, despite virtually all of the scientific evidence, does not even recognize the reality of global warming or the science behind it, and that, frankly, is pretty pathetic. Now, what is our job in the state of Vermont? What our job is to do, in terms of transforming our energy system, exactly what we're doing in terms of health care, in terms of what we're doing in affordable housing and in many other areas, and that is leading the United States of America in a very different direction. And that is what you are about. And we're beginning to do it. We should applaud ourselves. And in many other areas, if this small state can do the right thing, other states will learn from us and not be far behind. And the world learns from us. So never underestimate what one state, well-motivated, doing the right thing, can do. All right, what are some of the issues? In terms of energy efficiency, which, as all of you know, is what they call the low-hanging fruit. State of Vermont is leading the nation in that area. Can we do more? Absolutely and positively. We can do a hell of a lot more, but we should take some pride in the fact that we're leading the nation. For example, it is no small thing that the major electric companies in the state of Vermont, GMP, Central Vermont, BED, are now selling less electricity in real kilowatts than they used to. And that's not because we're living in a depression or that we have been harder hit by the recession than other states. That's not the case. That is precisely because of the excellent work that we have done in energy efficiency, VEIC, Efficiency Vermont, other entities have done. Can we do a lot more? Absolutely. We have brought in to this state, and I'm proud of the Energy Conservation Block Grant Program that we developed, something like $16 million of the federal monies that are coming in. You're aware that in Rutland right now, there's a project to weatherize 1,000 homes in Rutland County. Other projects going on around the state, about $5 million for Central Vermont Community Action to train people in terms of green jobs. So here's the story, as you all know better than I do. When you do energy efficiency, you begin to address the issue of a nation importing $350 billion a year of foreign oil from Saudi Arabia and other countries. I was in Saudi Arabia a number of years ago. Trust me, the royal family of Saudi Arabia is doing just fine. They do not need any more money from the state of Vermont. But it's not only economics. Thank God, long overdue, we're beginning to bring the troops home from Iraq. And what we want is no more wars for oil. So it's a question of energy independence, and I'll tell you what else it is a question of. If this nation does the right thing in terms of energy efficiency, we create a huge amount of decent paying jobs. Not only the work of the people who are doing the actual weatherizing, etc., the people who are manufacturing the doors and the windows and the installations and the other products that we need as we move forward in energy efficiency. Now, we're doing well in electricity, but we've got to expand that concept out, of course, to oil and heating as well. One of the areas that we are working very hard on right now in Washington and in Vermont is a concept that many of you are familiar with, which is called on-bill financing. You all familiar with that? Similar, it's a sister of the PACE concept, which you're also familiar with. Here's the story. Right now in Vermont, we are sitting on hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, nobody knows exactly, of money that we can use for energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Where is that money? The money is in your home today when you're spending 40 or 50% more heating your home than you should be spending if that home was energy efficient or if we had sustainable energy.